Wrestle Dream right now. We haven't had a chance to ever really, since I introduced the event or talked about it for the first time, we haven't really had a chance as a collective to talk about the event, but it means a lot to me personally. Last year when Antonio Inoki passed away, I was in a hotel room, as I often am, and on the road, and I remember thinking to myself, mark this date down and start planning ahead and start thinking ahead. And I talked to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they were supportive, and they're going to be sending stars to participate in the event. I think it's really cool. And certainly Antonio Inoki is one of the most influential people in pro wrestling, and I don't think AEW would be where we are without him. So very excited for the first ever Wrestle Dream, October 1st in Seattle, and very excited about the show we just had tonight. I've got some more of the top stars in AEW here to join us, and here after retaining her TBS championship earlier tonight. She's on a great run, ladies and gentlemen. She was in a great 6-woman tag on Dynamite and Collision, ladies and gentlemen, Kris Statlander.
Questions for Kris?
Congratulations, Kris. TK from Women's Wrestling Talk, so congratulations on retaining. We talked about this yesterday, about Jade coming back, and we got to speak to Jade a couple weeks ago, and she said that she speaks to you, TK, very often. So is there any plans of her coming back?
Yeah, very excited. I've talked to Jade recently. I think hopefully get Jade back in soon. Obviously, it was Kris Statlander who put Jade on the shelf, and Jade's one of the most successful stars ever in AEW. So we'll have to stay tuned to see when and where Jade might pop up again in the world. And definitely a big fan of Jade, and she put together one of the most dominant runs ever. It was very fitting that she was stopped by one of the top stars in AEW, and now Kris has gone on to carry the TBS Championship, only the second person ever to carry the TBS Championship, and it's very fitting, a great championship that's had two great champions now. Great defense from Kris tonight. She's had some great matches with Ruby, and I think it shows how far you both come in some of these matches, how full circle the relationship is, and also with the fans, because certainly I remember being in Las Vegas a while back, and the crowd really was rooting for you to pull it off, and I think everyone was really happy to see you pull it off tonight and retain your championship.
Yeah, I finally got that big one over Ruby. I've been chasing for so long. But also addressing Jade, as I've said before, I am willing to prove that my win over her was not a fluke. I know there's, of course, the controversy of it was the second match. Did she really put out the challenge? And whenever she's ready, I'm accepting any challenge from anyone, especially her, and I will prove that my win was my win, and I truly am the TBS champion.
Over here, Kris.
Emily May with WrestlingNews.co. So congratulations, Kris, on retaining tonight. I would love for you to tell us what it means to be able to retain that championship tonight and to be embraced by the AEW fans, and what that journey has been like since this big win.
It's always such a special feeling to, one, just be a part of such a big event such as All Out. I remember the last All Out that I was a part of, it was me versus Britt for the AEW Women's Championship here. I believe it might have been the Now Arena though, but it was here in Chicago, and I did not come out on top, unfortunately. So to be able to walk into a pay-per-view match, the same pay-per-view All Out in Chicago with the title, and then keep it, it's just like, okay, I'm here, I'm really doing it. And especially after, the double knee surgeries, to be able to go out there and do what I do and to not be worried about my knees, to not have any fear, and to only have to worry about making sure that this comes home with me. It's such a rewarding thing, not just like physically, but like mentally. I'm like, all right, I'm here, I'm good, I'm doing it, and I'm just so thankful to be a part of such a amazing event, and to be able to make All Out feel just as important as All In was, because that was it was a monumental thing. So I know there was a lot of people being like, oh, maybe this might not be the same, but I think all of us that were on the pay-per-view tonight stepped up and were like, we're putting on a freaking show for you guys. Don't even worry about it. So it's always just, it means a lot to me to be able to be one of these people to step up whenever I'm needed to.
Thank you.
Hey Chris, Mike Shallow from SC Scoops. We're a few months into your current run. You're back for a few months. Only had a few matches since then. So do you feel like you're fully back in terms of like in the groove of getting all your reps in and feeling like you're kind of, are you feeling like you're at peak form, or you feel like you're still kind of getting your sea legs under you? And, sorry, just a two-part question. Do you feel the need at all to kind of modify your ring style having come back from a few big injuries?
So I think I feel like I wouldn't have come back when I did if I wasn't at my peak. And every time I show up here, I show up to almost every single Dynamite, Collision, Rampage. I'll show up to Ring of Honor when I can. I'll always get in the ring and I'll work around and I'll just do things and I'll just try to, stay on top of my game because, being on top of my game is very, very important to me. And especially after, having such extensive injuries, mentally I'm very worried about I hope I haven't lost it yet. So it is very important that I try to get those thoughts out of my head and be on top of my game and, be at my peak but come back better, bigger, better. I said better twice. Stronger than before. And then, what was your second part?
Do you feel the need to kind of modify your style at all, or
Okay, so I would not have come back if I couldn't do everything that I did before. And I know you see me do the tombstone, we see me do the 450, and I know people worry about me, but I would not be back doing what I do if I wasn't ready to. The only thing that I at least try to be conscious of is to not wrap my legs around someone's neck and cut their head off, because I don't think that'd make good TV. So I try to, keep people's heads on at least.
Be pretty good.
Chris.
We'll save that one.
Kevin Kelm with Sportskeeda Wrestling. Obviously at All In, something that got people's attention before the show was even on the air was the presence of Mercedes Mone.
Yeah.
Big superstar in pro wrestling. A lot of people have been anticipating her coming to All Elite Wrestling. You are a champion. Obviously they would make you a little bit more of a target if she did show up. And how do you feel about that, and how does the women's locker room feel about the possibility of her joining the company?
I think the women's locker room is always ready for a challenge. We're willing to accept anybody that wants to step our way and put us to the test. And as a champion, I know that there's always a target on my back. And if she wants to step up to me, I'm ready for her. I'm anytime, anywhere. That's what I want. That's what I do.
Two more questions.
Corey Lee with the Wrestling Observer. How you doing today? I want to ask you about your feelings on the main event, especially with Orange Cassidy losing the international title, but also the fact that you guys were in basically his entrance and then also coming out there at the end of the show to kind of give him props and basically just talk a little bit about your relationship with Orange, basically working on the indies and then coming up to this point where he's in the main event of one of the biggest shows of the year against, I'm probably going to say, the MVP of AEW since its birth, which would be Jon Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, do you have any thoughts on that? And look forward to hearing your answer.
Thanks. I have a lot of thoughts. If it weren't for OC, I would not be half the wrestler that I am today. I owe so much of everything I've ever done to him because sure, we wrestled a few times on the indies and we were friends, but it wasn't until we both came to AEW that we really became best friends. And he always checks on me, I always check on him. We truly have each other's backs. We really are best friends. We travel, we hang out together. And it was emotional walking into that, seeing the state that he's in, seeing what he was about to get himself into. And I think at the end, after everything had went down, all of us, me, Trent, and Chuck, we were all standing in there about to cry, like about to hug him, and we were all like trying to hold back tears. So they'll probably be mad at me for saying that we were all about to cry, but I was about to cry, and we all love him, and we were telling him how much we love him. He's truly best. I'm getting, get it together.
Last question for Kris.
Leo Angelo from Distracted by Wrestling. Kris, first off, congratulations on a successful title defense.
Thank you.
Secondly, I wanted to ask, is there anyone in particular, Mercedes Mone aside, that you'd like to face for your TBS championship? Anyone on the roster, whether it be Ring of Honor or in particular, like I said, on the All Elite roster?
Of course. I think maybe get a full taste of Toni Storm. I know she's a little crazy right now, but you know, she kind of went crazy after losing a title. I'm sure she showed up tonight, so no doubt in my mind she might be having her eyes on my belt. And if we get a chance to settle that, I would love to do that. Soraya is another one. Get a full taste of that. That'd be a wild champion versus champion thing. You never know what might happen with that, but that would be a really cool thing to see. Who's the top champion there? When she eventually returns, Jamie Hayter, I have so much love for her. I think she's incredible. Willow, just let me wrestle everybody. See, I'm just gonna list the entire roster, but yeah, I want to wrestle every single woman that we have here. Truly.
Thanks, Kris.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Great job, everybody. Thank you, Cody.
Champ.